Welcome back. Due to the rapid rise in prices and rates, housing affordability in California just reached a 17-year low. In today's video, I'll share all the details based on this brand new report from the California Association of Realtors. In this report here, just posted today, which is November 10th here, it says here, with borrowing costs reaching all-time record highs and home prices also increasing as well, California housing affordability dialed back for the second consecutive quarter and dropped to the lowest levels since the year of 2007. Absolutely insane. So only 15% of home buyers could afford to purchase a median price single family existing house in California. So when looking at existing houses only, excluding brand new home construction, also only looking at single family houses, only 15% of buyers here can afford to buy a house. Absolutely insane for the third quarter this year. That's down from 16% from the previous quarter and also down from 18% from the third quarter of 2022. By the way, for comparison's sake, the all-time record highs for housing affordability, meaning that housing affordability was at its best levels, was way back in the first quarter of 2012. Then 56% could afford to buy a house then. Now it's only 15%. Now have a look at this. I actually did some digging for you guys to see how much home prices have increased over the past several years. So when looking at the median sold price for an existing single-family house in California, it increased by 18% over the past 3 years. That is actually September 2020 through September this year. Now, when looking at pre-COVID levels, a very big increase, 39% over the past 4 years, from September 2019 through this September. So housing affordability in California has reached very low levels due to the increase in prices, especially compared to the past several years. And on top of that, not only are we seeing prices rising by 39% over the past 4 years, but during that same time frame, your average 30-year fixed mortgage rate went from 3.5% to about 7%. So rates more than doubled, and also home prices surged over the past 4 years. Also get this, according to the California Association of Realtors, a minimum income of $221,200 was needed in order to qualify for the purchase of a $843,000 median price home for the third quarter this year. So get that, $221,000 to buy, or to be able to afford to buy an average price home in California. Sad but true. The monthly payment, including taxes and insurance, or your principal, interest, taxes and insurance payment, or PITA, for a 30-year fixed rate loan at 7.14%, that was the average rate for the third quarter this year, would get you a housing payment at $5,530 per month, assuming a 20% down payment. So when reading that, it really makes sense that only 15% of people can afford to buy a median price home in California right now if your income needed is $220,000. That actually just blows my mind. The rate 1 year ago for a 30-year fix was at 5.72%. Rates have appeared to have peaked, and further economic slowdown could result in further rate drops before the end of the year. The rate decline should elevate pressure on both the supply and demand sides of the housing market. So we have this weird market right now where this huge increase in rates is causing a huge decrease in demand, but also it's causing a huge decrease in supply, because a lot of people do not want to give up their 3 and 4 and 5% rates and take on an 8% or a 7.5% rate right now. So the increase in rates is affecting both the demand side, but also the supply side as well. So what they're basically saying here is that if rates were to decrease, that could potentially cause demand to rise, but also for supply to also increase as well, given that a lot of people may be more enticed to sell their houses given a decrease in rates here. They also provided the income needed in order to buy a medium price condo or townhome for the third quarter of this year in California. So you need an income of $170,400 to buy a condo in the third quarter of this year to cover a payment of $4,260 per month for a $650,000 condo versus a $843,000 single family house. Compared with California, more than a third of the nation's household could afford to purchase a median price home at $406,900, which required a minimum annual income of $106,800 to make monthly payments of just under $2,700. So in California, you need $221,000, but on a national level, you only need $107,000. So I guess it's safe to say that we definitely pay to live in California, which we all know. Now, I also want to share this with you guys as well, because when talking about the rise in prices and rates, it's kind of this double whammy for home buyers right now. If prices increase and also if rates also increase, that causes a huge housing affordability challenge. So this is based on my own analysis of the National Association of Realtors data regarding housing affordability, a video I made about 2 weeks ago. So for the most recent stats they have, which actually covers the month of August, we reached all-time record lows for housing affordability for data that goes back into the late 1980s. Absolutely insane. So regarding the payment versus the income, take a look at this, because compared to August of 2022, compared to August this year, your average principal and interest payment increased by 26%. That's a gain of $464 more per month to buy a median price home this August compared to last August. Compare this to the incomes. Incomes overall, household incomes have only increased by 5%. So that's not sustainable to see your average housing payment, excluding property taxes and insurance, increasing by 26%, whereas incomes only rising by 5%. And the reason why payments have increased by 26% is because the median sold price has increased by 4% year over year. And also your average mortgage rate has increased by 1.9 percentage points. Now, when looking at 2019, it's a much worse scenario here. So prices overall have increased by 47% compared to August of 2019. And also mortgage rates have increased by 3.5 percentage points, or more than doubled, or basically doubled over the past several years here. Also, your average monthly housing payment increased by 116% over the past, 4 years here, whereas incomes only increased by 21%. So can you say we have a huge housing affordability challenge nationwide, but again, also in California here as well? The California Association of Realtors also looked at how each of the counties fared as well. So compared to 1 year ago, this is the third quarter last year compared to the third quarter this year, only 6 counties saw an improvement of affordability. Also, a greater majority of those counties, so 42 throughout the state, recorded a decrease of housing affordability on a year-over-year basis. So Lassen County remained the most affordable county in California, and also the only county to record an affordability of more than 50%. This means that 58% of people could afford to buy a house in Lassen County, which means that more people than not can afford to buy a house there. In contrast, the second most affordable county, but way below Lassen, was Tehama at 39% and Shasta at 35%. Of all the counties in California, Lassen required the lowest income of only $55,600. In contrast, Mono County, which is just east of the San Francisco Bay Area, which borders Nevada, so this is more or less southeast of Lake Tahoe in the Yosemite and Mammoth Lakes area. So Mono County, the least affordable county in California, where only 5% could afford to buy a house there. After that was Monterey, San Luis Obispo, and Santa Barbara. Each of those counties there, by the way, required a minimum income of $226,800 per year to purchase a median price home in those counties. Meanwhile, San Mateo actually required the highest income. You need to earn $516,000 per year in order to afford a house there. After that was Santa Clara County, which required $484,800, and Marin at $416,000. It also says here, despite higher household incomes, higher home prices and elevated rates continue to be the primary factors that kept the cost of borrowing near an all-time record high and housing affordability near the all-time record low for most counties. As I described to you guys, we can't have your average monthly housing payment doubling over the past several years and to see the incomes only increasing by about 17 to 21%. They also provided how each of the major regions in California fared and also how each of the counties fared as well. So again, on a statewide level here, only 15% of people can afford to buy a median price home. Your income needed is $221,000. That's absolutely insane. Meanwhile, condos and townhomes, only 23% can afford to buy a condo at $650,000, an income needed at $170,000. Also, the San Francisco Bay Area, look at this. Your monthly payment, again, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, on average, $8,350 per month. Qualifying income needed, $334,000 overall for the San Francisco Bay Area. Look at these incomes here as well. Speaking of the Bay Area, Alameda County, $334,000 is the minimum qualifying income to buy a house there at just under $1.3 million. Marin, $416,000. San Francisco, $406,000. San Mateo, $516,000, the highest income needed for all these counties. Look at this, your payment, $12,900 per month. I couldn't even imagine having a payment over $10,000. Anyways, San Mateo there, the median sold price there for the third quarter, just under $2 million. The same goes for Santa Clara at $1.85 million, $484,000 there. Meanwhile, Los Angeles, Orange County, and Ventura, and also San Diego, only have 11% of people can afford to buy a house there, and your income needed over $200,000 there as well. Orange County, $342,000. Not sustainable. Also overall for the Central Coast, which is Monterey, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Santa Cruz, also well below the statewide average at 15% as well. Something I found to be interesting here as well, Santa Cruz, $1.2 million is your median sold price there. In Monterey, $918,000. Very big numbers here. In the Central Valley, let's have a look at Sacramento, where I live and work as a real estate agent here. In Sacramento, the percent there is at 23% who could afford to buy a house here. 1 quarter ago, the previous quarter, I should say, this is Q2 2023, was at 26%. 1 year ago, it was at 29%. Look at this, your income needed minimum $142,000 here in Sacramento. Placer is at $174,000. What else do we have here? Lassen County, the most affordable county there at 58%. Your median sold price there, $212,000. Income needed only $55,600. Other counties that you need less than $100,000 to buy a house was actually in Shasta, Siskiyou, and Tehama, to name a few. And by the way, there's several other counties here that I'm not mentioning in today's video, but just like my other videos, I'll provide a link in the video description below if you guys want to take a look at this report here. But this just kind of really caught my attention here, that only 50% of people can afford to buy a house here, and your minimum qualifying income overall statewide $221,000. I mean, what is wrong here? Anyways, thank you so much for watching today's video. Like and subscribe. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you on the next video.